Well, welcome everybody. I'm really excited to be here for our Tuesday weekly business training. And we've already done like 3 sessions with our foundation of doing the vision and then figuring out your goals and then figuring out your plan to reach those goals, to reach those visions. And those are things that you're going to want to keep revisiting very often to make sure that what you're doing with your business is getting you to where you want to be in your vision. So right now, we are going to be branching off to various things that will help us to connect with people, build relationships, and build our business. And we are so fortunate to have several team members with wonderful gifts who want to share with all of us to help us along. But before we get into tonight's speaker, there's a few things that we just need to remind people of. So the 3 and 30 for August, when you get your 3 and 30, you get the glass Elevate bottle. So work towards that. Ruby Boot Camp is every Monday night. We've done 2 weeks now. There's 4 weeks left, and it is 8:30 till 10. The summit price is staying at that $149 until September the 15th. And this Thursday's talk is how to address physical nutrient deficiencies. Okay, so moving forward, I'm excited that Nada St. Germain will be sharing tonight with her 35 years of experience about how to handle objections. And I mean, she's been in so many different scenarios. So just for tonight, because each speaker does things differently, we will not be using the chat. So if you have any questions, just write them down because as Nada works through each slide, that's when there's going to be a Q&A after each slide. So you can just put up your hand and then she'll call on you and be able to answer your questions. And all of the Q&A along with the presentation will be recorded. So take it away, Nada, and give us your words of wisdom from all your experience.
Well, thank you so much, Shelley. And, I think sometimes when you're looking at the word objections, sometimes people kind of have a fear of that word, right? And I just want you to understand that in the beginning, the first stages, when you just start building your Neo-Life business, sometimes we have a little bit of fear. And what I want to help you understand that eventually you'll get more comfortable and it's just a matter of time. And I learned very early in my Neo-Life business that no does not mean no. And it really means I don't know enough. And if you really look at what you know now as a promoter, or even when even the club members, when they, say yes to Neo-Life and they start using the products, they really value the product. And they know that if people knew what they knew, they would be right on board taking these amazing products because of the health benefits and also the income benefits. So, we're going to go through some scenarios and we're going to kind of give you an idea on how to get more comfortable with some of the challenges that we get or that we come across when we're trying to introduce some people to what you're doing. And, to handle objections, you really have to have the right attitude and a burning desire. I mean, I had a burning desire to talk to people, to help people, to help people really understand the Neo-Life difference, to truly believe in the products. And, you really want to make a difference in people's lives. And if you have that burning desire to really want to have that impact, it's so much easier handling some of the objections. And you just have to understand, accept that it takes many no's sometimes before you get a yes. And I love this phrase, dance with people who want to dance. You don't want to be pulling people along that don't want to be a part of what you're doing, because that could be really draining and sometimes discouraging. And then it makes you feel like, oh, I can't do this. So don't worry about that. Let them go and they'll watch you. I promise you, the people that have said no to you in the beginning, they're going to watch you for a little while. Okay. Now the price objection, I found that I used to get that more many, many years ago, but more and more people are understanding the true value of good quality, and that you do have to pay a little bit more for better quality products. But it's how you react to their, objection or their challenge of, oh, are they expensive? If you feel the products are expensive, it's going to come across when you're sharing Neolife. So I always say, not at all. I found the cost is very close to what a good quality health food store brand would cost. So this way, they're like, okay, that makes sense. However, I found that many people I talked to were not getting results with the health food store brands, myself included, or you can say my mom. For me, I would say my mom included, right? As soon as they tried the Neolife products, they got results. The Neolife products really work, and they're really worth it. As the old saying goes, you get what you pay for. Okay, so that's just some of the words, and you'll find that you're going to use your own words as you go along. Some of these sentences that we've created as a team, and that's okay. I'm just trying to give you some guidance and some keywords that you could use when you're handling some of these price objections. This is a good one. I get everything I need from what I eat. And again, I used to get that years ago, 35 years, right? We're doing this, but more and more people are becoming more aware on the deficiencies and how, supplementation is becoming more important. But you could always say, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. But then I learned that even with the most careful diet choices, many of the nutrients in our food are drastically reduced due to over farming of our lands. Who can be perfect every day? That's another thing. I say, you know what, I don't know about you, but I find that a challenge to eat healthy every day. I also learned that most people's digestion is not working properly, including my own. So it's even more of a challenge to get all the nutrients. You can even say, and what about all the processing, GMOs, and additives our foods have, right? So just some of the key things, and use the ones that fit well with you. Okay, when it comes to how do you feel about, do you feel like you're getting everything from your food that you're eating? Okay, so just handle it very nicely. Another thing, I get everything I need from my food. I know how you feel. I felt the same way, but when I took time to listen to some of the research from Neolife and the World Health Organization, it made sense. It made me realize why I had allergies, why I was tired all the time. I was eating healthy, but learned that certain nutrients were not there because of food processing. A simpler way of giving the or handling the objection if I get everything I need from what I eat. I don't see any hands up yet, so that's good. Like I said, if there's anything you want to clarify, and again at the very end too, we can even go over some of the objections that we've covered as well. Okay. Okay, so yes, I totally understand. I felt the same way. Then I took a closer look. Do you know why our breads last weeks? I always use this, like the breads last weeks, pastas last forever. I mean, I decided to take a further look and found that no matter how healthy I ate, certain nutrients were missing. Let me know if you would like to learn more. We host weekly events, or we can even meet over Zoom to share some of the powerful information. So I find that when you talk about flour and breads and pastas and cereals, sometimes people don't, realize why the foods last so long. So sometimes just painting that picture, like when you bought that loaf of bread, right? How long does that last, right? When you buy that bag of pasta, do you know how long that shelf life is, right? So sometimes you just have to, open their mind to some of the challenges when it comes to buying food. I'm using brand X. When someone tells me that they're taking supplements, I actually praise them. I say, wow, that's so great that you know the importance of taking supplements. You make them feel good about that decision and the choice on, hey, that's great that you're taking vitamins. You know that it's important. I was also using another product when I was introduced to Neolife, and I thought I was doing fine. But when I stopped to think about it, I was still getting sick all the time. It was difficult, also difficult to get reliable information about what to take or how much to take. Every book I read gave different recommendations. When I was introduced to Neolife products, I was willing to give them a chance. I had nothing to lose since I didn't see any results from other products I was taking. So I tried Neolife, and what a difference. So again, that's if you've taken supplements in the past. For me, I always use my mom as an example because she was taking supplements with no results. So, that story may change on your situation and on your story. Now, I also have some of these articles in a binder that I carry with me sometimes. And sometimes I pull them out because they seem kind of appropriate to share, like the blind trust that people have. And this is an article that came out of Guelph University many years ago. And they did a study, which the Toronto Star published. They tested several products found in local health food stores and drugstores, and some products showed no trace of active ingredients promised. And even some of the number one selling brands in Canada were found guilty of this. So I just share that you just don't know who to trust. And that's why the closer I looked at Neolife, the more comfortable I became. And I looked at the difference in the quality. So just share a little bit about the Neolife difference. And that's when they come to a Zoom or you do a one-on-one, you can go deeper into the Neolife difference here. Okay, so when they're looking at the business opportunity and they're thinking, I don't know how to answer questions. Sometimes people have a fear of even looking at the income or the business opportunity because they don't know, or they feel like they don't know enough. And I always let people know that in Neolife, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. If you don't know the answer to a question, let the prospect know that they're asking a really good question, and you'll get back to them with the answer. I always tell my promoters, call me. Let's get the answer, the question answered, so you can get back to your prospect. And you'll find that you'll start hearing the same questions over and over again. So you'll be able to pull from the back of your head, in your brain, the answer. Eventually it'll be the same questions and it'll be the same answers. And eventually you'll just be able to pull from your hat and answer the question. I also encourage my team to do three-way calls. So sometimes they go, hey, Nada, I'm meeting with someone or I met someone and they've got these questions. I don't know how to handle them. Do you think we can do a quick three-way call? Absolutely. That works amazing. Sometimes it's just a three-way phone call. And I have a couple of my team members like Serena and even Leonie, they like to do a three-way messenger chat so we can see each other. Sometimes that works because when they see your expression and they see your excitement and you're smiling, they feel more comfortable. So that's another way that I help my team answer some of the questions. So again, don't feel that you have to know all the answers. I did not know all the answers initially. I remember when I started my Neolife business, I was calling my upline Al, I would say probably 3-4 times a day. And I would always apologize, say, I'm so sorry for calling you. And he'd say, Nada, please don't apologize for calling me. Because when you're calling me, asking me questions, I know you're building your Neolife business and that makes me happy. So at first I was a little uncomfortable because I was a slow learner, believe it or not. But I had to hear things over and over and over again before I could actually repeat and help and share. So do not ever feel that you're bothering your uplines. Sometimes I even get some of my newer promoters going, Nat, I'm so sorry to bother you. I said, you're not bothering me. If I don't answer, it's because I'm busy. I only answer when I can answer. So please don't ever apologize for calling your upline. We love hearing from you guys because it means you're in that learning stage. And the faster you learn, the more independent you will become. The pyramid scheme, again, we used to get more of that challenge a long time ago. I'm finding not as often anymore because it is becoming more respected. People are feeling more comfortable with MLM. But 35 years ago, I was not comfortable at all with pyramid schemes or direct selling. So, I always think, I wondered about that too at first. But I learned that direct marketing or network marketing or multi-level marketing is a legitimate way of doing business that is very effective. Neolife has been around for over 65 years now and has established an excellent reputation for top quality products and high integrity business practices. They have been affiliated with such prestigious organizations like the Stanford Health Library, New York Academy of Sciences, and the Center for Disease Control. So I just kind of throw out some of these, reputable organizations. So there's other ways that I've got other examples. What do you mean by pyramid? So important that you ask them that, because you want to know, what is their concern. Then let them know that pyramids are illegal in Canada, and only the person at the top makes all the money. Companies do not last long when they're operating like that. Okay, so find out what it is that they think a pyramid is. Maybe they were involved in another business that wasn't reputable, and something happened, and now they're not comfortable. So make sure you're ready to let them know. And Neolife believes in direct selling because it's a people-to-people business, people sharing stories and building relationships for over 65 years. The products truly need an explanation, and that's why our founder decided to market the products this way. He could have easily marketed these products and put them on a shelf and have a retail business, but he knew that the quality of these products were so different that they needed to be told and shared by somebody to show the integrity and the science behind these incredible Neolife products. Now, when your husband or wife is kind of skeptical or negative, it would probably best to be present, so to present this to both parties at the same time. And I know that's not always viable, but this is where, let's say they go home after meeting you, and now the husband's kind of given them some negative feedback. This would be a great time to do that three-way call. So this way, the husband can, kind of ask you the questions directly rather than trying to challenge their wife, and she can only, usually, or the husband and wife, the vice versa. Usually the other half can only remember bits and pieces of what they learned, so they're not strong enough to share. Okay, but I always say, understand and know how you feel about telling your spouse. I know someone exactly like you in our business. And this is where you can share other stories. And I always share Mary Ellen Henry's story, a fellow police officer friend of mine, him and his wife have been in business now for, oh my gosh, over 28 years. So I always share, other couple stories. I even share now Frances and her husband, initially he said, oh, this is your business, you go ahead and you do this. And now, after the summit, she shared, with her husband, and now he said, well, I want to know more about the business. So sometimes things can change and turn around. So don't be intimidated by that. But just remember to ask the questions and find out if it's going to be a problem. And sometimes people make decisions without their spouse, which is great. But sometimes they do have to go home and run it by their spouse. So just be ready and be open. But I think the three-way calling is one of the best ways to handle that when they do go home and have a challenge with their other half. I don't want to sell. I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same way, but I don't sell anything. Now we are selling stuff, guys, okay? But if you have that impression of sales, it's kind of, it could be kind of scary, but it really is simple, right? We're just giving people information. That's what we're selling them. And then they're making the decision. And it's the sales part is how good we do at explaining and sharing the Neolife difference. But, I would like to say, I've gone to see a couple movies this year, and everyone I've shared about the movies, they've all gone to see the movie that I recommended because they were so good, right? So if you talk that same way, like you've read a good book or a great movie that you've gone to see, people be curious. They're going to want to either check it out, find out more, right? Or go see that movie. Okay. So these are just a couple of examples, and it's really fun to help people feel great again. And that's the feeling that I get. I really enjoy the feedback and the feeling. And and give you an example. I got a message from one of Frances's new promoters. You guys haven't met her yet. She's young. She's going to university. And she messaged us today, say, hey, I know I haven't really been active this summer. And I know I signed up as a promoter, but I'm really wanting to get more involved. Would you come and do a talk at the university for me? And she goes, I really want to take a more serious look at this business. And, sometimes she had that kind of fear of selling. So you just never know. right? So, and I think what she's been watching is the fun that we've been having. I think she saw the fun that we had in Texas, right? So I think when she saw that we could have fun while we're helping people, why not? Right. So we really have to get people feeling like they're going to have a great time and have fun while they're sharing these amazing products with people that they know. Now, sometimes people have come from other companies. I did something like this before and I didn't succeed. Many people that I've talked with. And I always say, you know what, I totally understand. Like I'd never done direct sales, so I didn't have my own personal story, but someone in my team was the same way. And then I share other people's stories and I use Joan Poon a lot because she was, doing another direct sales company before Neolife. But she fell in love with helping people with nutrition and helping people with their health because found that that was more important. So I just say she felt the same way as you. But now she is happy and successful with our business. So use other people's stories and examples, and you will find that it's a lot easier to handle that objection as well. Time. Oh my gosh. So that was one of my biggest things was the time factor. Guys, I was working 10-hour days. I was in court on my day off. I was sometimes no sleep. Sometimes I'd work all night, I'd sleep for 2 or 3 hours, I'd be in court all day. And when I was looking at Neolife, I said no to the business right off the bat. Okay. And I was a director in my second month. So how did I do it? Well, wherever I was, people were complaining. Guys I worked with, they complained about their wives, their kids were sick. So it was something, and then my family, like I thought wherever I was, I could still share. And that's what I felt initially I was doing. But I realized everywhere I went, right? And back then it wasn't school, but the church, eventually with my kids, sporting events, being around family and friends. Again, people were complaining about their health or complaining about paying too much tax at the end of the year, right? Not having enough money to pay their bills, not having enough money to go away on holiday that year. So people are complaining or complaining about their tummies or their joints, or there's always something, right? And that's when I realized that I did have some time because I could share it wherever I was. Also, you can say, I know just how you feel. I felt like I was running myself ragged, just keeping up with all my work duties, home duties, kids' duties, you name it, being pulled in every direction. But when I started taking the Neolife supplements, I started feeling so good. And I think that's another thing, right? Once you start taking the products, you just start to feel good. And you couldn't help to share with family, friends. And I also felt that I had more energy to do more than I could before. And that was true for me. So taking Neolife supplements gave me the energy I needed to start a part-time business on the side. So that's where I felt like it wasn't really interfering with what I was doing. I was still working full time. Now, we didn't have kids at the time, but believe it or not, I didn't think we'd have time for kids. That was one of the reasons why we waited 10 years to have kids. So thank goodness I started my Neolife business because that gave me the freedom to have more time when I had my kids. But, I really didn't think I had the time. So don't let that play a factor. And, and I always let people know that just do it when you can. Don't worry about it. We record these trainings. If you can't come on at 7 o'clock, that's okay. We'll send you the link, right? A lot of my team listens to some of the stuff while they're driving, right? I know Tracy, who's a registered nurse, she's driving from patient to patient. She even says to me, okay, send me the recording. I'm going to listen to it, while I'm driving. Because some of the places she's driving is an hour, over an hour drive. So you can really make use of your time. So don't let the time factor discourage you. Just let people know that that's okay. We'll work it around. You let me know. And Ashley is wonderful with explaining the 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, or like a 1 hour power hour follow-up call that you can do. So we can fit it into the time that you have available. So don't worry about that. Okay, I don't know many people. Some people think that they don't know a lot of people, but you kind of do know a lot of people. Sometimes you forget about the people that you know. And, sometimes people will say, well, I thought I only knew 2 people. And I really thought that they wouldn't be interested. So sometimes, people say that, I'm like, you know more than 2 people, okay? Most people know more than 2 people. But I always say, let's start now, and I'll show you how you can find many people to share this opportunity with. It's amazing how many people we know when we start to write our list of names. Okay, so I always start with that and just let people know that don't worry about it. We'll work together with the people that you do know, because those people know people. And that's where the power of duplication comes in, when people that you know start sharing, and it just starts to grow. Okay, so another MLM, multi-level marketing, network marketing. If someone asks you, is it MLM? I say, absolutely. You have to be proud of what we do and who we are. Network marketing just means the products are shared by word of mouth. There's no retail storefront. This is becoming one of the most respected ways of marketing products. There are even courses now at universities teaching students all about MLM. So we're now heavily regulated, okay? It's not like it used to be. So this is a very reputable and respected way of marketing products. Who do I share Neolife with now that I have exhausted my family and friends? So that was me a few years after, right? Building my Neolife business. And this is where I had to find new ways of meeting people. Now, for me, I had the perfect in my kids. Whether it be toy library when they were little, whether it be, when they started getting involved through the church, the youth group. That's where I met Leonie, right? We volunteered at the youth group. I helped with their basketball and football. So kids are a perfect way if you have kids. Go to their school events, do things. So that's one way. Also, find out what's going on in your area. I remember there's volunteering. Volunteering is awesome. Great way to connect with people as well. Take a course on something you're interested in, right? There's something, even if it's just one night a week, a great way to connect and meet with people. Join networking groups in your area. I've been a part of Deaf Women in Business for about 15 years, and I've connected and met people in the community in the Orangeville area. And it's great because I know other businesses, I know business owners, and they're not all a part of what I do, but they know what I do. And it's funny how now that I'm connecting with them at yoga, I see them, at other events where they know what I do, and now they're asking questions. So it's really important that you find ways of just building relationships and building trust. And just remember, when you're joining a networking group, don't expect everybody to come on board right away. It could take months, it could take years. You're building relationships and building trust. And that's why it's important to have a few of these things going on. The shows and booths are great too. Find out what's in your area. Local events, craft shows, markets. Chuck and Charlotte Shelton, they had a booth at an event, and I think they're 1 or 2 diamond now, and they found Neolife at a booth. Right? So you just never know who you're going to meet, right? At a booth. And Kamea is a perfect example, right? I'm trying to think who else here. Actually, I met Shelley at a booth. She had a booth beside me at a show. I'm trying to think who else here. Nobody else on tonight. But anyways, I just wanted to share that with you because it's kind of cool. And also in-home meetings, if you get invited to like a Pembrokeshire party, epicure party, jewelry party, go and meet people. Mary Ellen and Joan is a perfect example. They met at a jewelry party, right? So they connected, they shared each other's stories, and boom, Mary Ellen, has an incredible business that Joan and Winston have built over many, many years. So you just never know who you're going to meet. So always find an opportunity where you can meet and connect and build relationships with new people. So just remember, no does not mean no. It means I don't know enough. Take time and give people what they want. That's always important as well. Really listen for their needs. The hardest thing for me was not the hardest, but one thing I had to learn very quickly over the last couple of weeks was just sharing Elevate. Okay. I had to really zip it. I She said, zip it. I have given out probably about 40 sample packs. When I was at Boots and Heart, oh my gosh, I met so many young people that are interested in Neolife, and I just talked Elevate. Okay. So that was so hard for me because I know I wanted to talk Pro Vitality. I wanted to talk about Neolife Shake. I want to talk about protein. But no, I asked them about energy and do they do energy drinks, and I let them talk. I let them share, and I didn't go into anything else. So give people what they want. If you're talking about energy and Elevate, just stick to that. They can find out about the other products later. Okay. So that's really important. So take the time to give them what they want and give them the information that you want and what you initially started the conversation with. Let your friends who are skeptical watch you for a while. Work with people who are interested, and others will come around eventually or never. And that is just something you have to learn to accept. It's a nature of the business. And I know because our hearts are so big, and I know we know how we can help people. And sometimes we get sad. I get sad. If I know somebody is not well and they're struggling with something, and I know I can help them and they don't see what I see, I get sad. I really do. But I had to learn to let that go and just say, maybe one day they'll be back. And I've had people that have stopped using the products for many years, and they come back. They see me 10 years later, 20 years later, they go, you haven't stopped taking these products, have you? I said, never in 35 years. Right? And they're powerful, guys. Our Neolife supplements are powerful. And as long as we talk with that conviction, with that caring, nature, people will want to know more, and they'll want to take what we have. Okay. And sometimes you do need to back off and wait till they're ready. Things change in people's lives. So just remember that as well. Okay. So I'm going to stop the share. And any thoughts or anything to add, or anything that maybe you can relate to? Patience, you can unmute yourself.
Well, I was clapping, but
Oh, good.
I really learned how to back off. I think sometimes I'm just scared that I'm not confident enough, but I learned to back off when people are asking me too many questions,
Right.
this and that. So I kind of zip it and
Zip it.
and get back to them. And some people have come back and asked me more information. Sometimes they go and see other people using the products, and then they come back to me and ask me more about it. So
yeah,
that's how I go with the objections. Usually I back off.
Yeah. And I've watched you, Patience, over the years. I think you're getting more confident again, or not again, but you're getting more confident. And I think the one thing that's helping you is joining all those meetings and all the trainings that you're attending. I think has been really helping you to build confidence. I think that's the thing too. You got to build confidence. And how do you build confidence? By coming on trainings, learning, whether it be recording. I know you're doing a lot out of the African team. You share so much information with those links. I know you're constantly learning to build that confidence, right? So and you don't give up. Right.
Now I'm not giving up because the products are good.
Right? That's
I'm
right.
not giving up.
You got it, girl. They are good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else? You can unmute yourselves now, guys, if you want to share, because everybody's muted.
I have a short story.
Sure.
I'm a CBC radio listener. And I don't know if any of you listen to that show, but they have this one, it's a comedy routine, but it's called The Debaters. So they always have one comedian debating for something and one against something.
Okay.
Well, imagine my surprise. It was just last week. I had to stay in the car to listen to it. They were debating MLMs.
Oh.
Yes. But neither of them were correct.
Oh.
The person who was against them wasn't the right information that they were sharing, and the person who was for them wasn't really for them. Like neither of them really knew what they were. And I thought, what a shame, because that's a national radio thing. And I felt really like bad about it. You know, I felt like, oh, I feel like I need to complain about that one. That was a bad debate, but it's a comedy show. So how can you?
Oh, there you
know.
go. There you go. But you know what? That would be a great conversation starter now for people when you're meeting people,
I will use it.
right?
Because I had someone at I'm calling the dog and soon the pony show, because I will be doing the horses this weekend. But so when I was at the sheepdog place, there was someone who said, "Is this an LM?" And I said, "MLM." I said, multi-level marketing. What does that mean to you? So
There you
they
go.
started to tell me things that were actually like exactly like, now I forgot what it is. The other kind, the kind that's illegal.
Right.
I said, yeah, I
Ponzi
guess they
scheme?
used sorry,
The
Yeah,
Ponzi scheme?
like a pyramid schemes,
a
right?
pyramid scheme. That's what they said. So it's a pyramid scheme. And I said, well, no, it isn't actually. And I'll just say this, I'll say this for the record, that it is illegal in Canada.
Mhm.
I don't know whether it's illegal in the States or not, but in
Well,
any
yeah,
case.
yeah.
But we just talked about that, about MLM. And I did share with them that, you know, recently on the Debaters, CBC radio, which they didn't listen to. So I just got to tell them my own personal angst about that, because I felt it wasn't well represented. And I said, you know, and I might not even represent it well, but I know that what we have is direct sale marketing, because it has to have the person to person. So that's basically what I said. I have
Person
to
to
be
person. That's right. That's what we do. And awesome.
So, and
Thank
Shelley
you.
has something to add to that.
All right, Shelley.
Well, I was actually, I mean, the Direct Selling Association is what then helps with the network marketing as well, if people want to know about that. But I was going to ask Nada, can you maybe elaborate a little bit more? Because I love the part about all the objections, but then you had brought in the point about the three-way calls. So I'm wondering if somebody is just kind of starting out and learning how doing those three-way calls can help them along in the learning the skill of the objections as well.
You know, but the reason why I feel the three-way calls is good is because you're talking with a leader that's had more experience, and then the way you hear them handle the conversation and lead the other person that's asking the questions, and you're listening. See, I learn by listening over and over and over again, and when you're listening to your upline, you know, connect with your new prospect and answer the question, you're listening to those words. And the more you hear the way Shelley handles the question, or myself, or whoever you're doing the three-way call with, those words will stick in your head for the next time. So just getting more comfortable. I think and three-way calling, I find, because you are introducing somebody that's had more experience than you. And sometimes having that third party credibility, they're more apt to believe me or Shelley or the other individual than you. Okay. So that's just I think one of the reasons why I know that Stephen and Ashley use that a lot. The three-way calling is very, very powerful. Did that help, Shelley? Is that what you meant?
Oh, absolutely. And I loved also when you were saying about how Serena and Leonie use the message, the video, because it's a big difference when if you do say, is this MLM, and you hear somebody say absolutely, or you see them going absolutely, right? Yeah. So the video, you do that a lot.
Yes. You feel because you see the energy, even though you were not there, you do feel the energy come through, because you can tell by eyes, like when I'm smiling, right? If I'm happy, if I'm excited, or if I'm, oh yeah, no, it is an MLM, right? Multi-level marketing. And no, the business does work. Like you can see my face is like, ooh, right? But if you go, oh my gosh, it is MLM, I'm so glad you asked me, because I was so skeptical, because guys, I drove to Nashville, right, 1 month in the business to find out what's going on with this company. Is it legit? I was the most skeptical, because you remember 35 years ago, there were a lot of things going around that were illegal. So I was a little afraid of getting involved. But I didn't know what it really was. I did not have an understanding what direct sales was. I learned very quickly what direct sales was. So just be patient. Thank you.
Can you, my last one, and then we'll see if anybody else has questions. do you recall, and maybe not, do you recall any objections that you heard this past weekend when you were handing out the Elevate at Boots and Hearts? Was there, when you were chatting with different people, how did you kind of approach that? Was it have you tried an Elevate kind of thing? Or were you chatting with them a little bit more, different age groups? Or what were you kind of looking at that kind of helped you to move through some of the objections that might come up?
Well, you know what? Because they were all like younger people, we're at Boots and Hearts, and like I felt old at Boots and Hearts, but they were all like, yeah, I would say 20 and above and under 30 a lot. So, it was interesting because everybody was so friendly. Like everybody was having so much fun. They were just talking and connecting and high-fiving. And then if I met, and now I have to say though, some of the girls their cell phones were dying and they were desperate looking for people. So they come to me and go, oh, can I have your cell phone? I lost my friends. And so I was like, sure. So I gave my cell phone, and then they're on the phone making phone calls. I say, oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're such a lifesaver. And I say, you know what? I'll say, we're staying right here in our lawn chairs the whole night. I said, if you need a cell phone, you can't find your friends, come right back. And they're like, oh, thank you so much. And then I just said, you know what? Wait, before you go, because they've already started a conversation. I've already helped them with something. I said, before you go, I just want to ask you something. I said, do you take anything for energy, like energy drinks? I'm just curious. And they're like, oh yeah. Whether some would say yes, some would say sometimes. And then some that were in school, university, they go, oh, I drink a lot of coffee. And I said, you know what? I have to ask you. I said, I'm part of a company and we've just launched this amazing clean energy drink. It is absolutely incredible. I said, I've never taken an energy drink because they scare me, because I hear so much about stimulants and stuff like that. I said, but this one tastes great and it's safe and it's clean. Would you be open to giving it a try? I'd love some feedback and let me know how you feel. And they're like, yeah, sure, right? Got their name. I did not give any samples without phone number, email, and I texted them right then and there to make sure it went through. And the ones that the cell phones died, they texted me hours later. Got your phone's live now. That's the word now. When the phone's not dead, phone's live. I'm like, okay, phone's live. But anyway, so just starting conversations, asking if they've tried energy drinks and letting them know that I'm looking for people and to get some feedback to see how it will help them.
Awesome. Anybody have any more questions before we close the evening off for objections? There were lots of amazing stories there and great ideas and lots of experience to handle. And as you deal with the objections, as Nada was saying, you certainly improve yourself and get that confidence. So any other questions? Patience.
I've given people examples of some multi-level marketing companies that people don't think of as multi-level marketing companies. So things like Shell, the gas company, or Starbucks, or McDonald's, they're all multi-level marketing companies. Just that they're not very obvious. They come up as corporate, but they're all ill-owned individually. If you fail on your own and you close.
Mm.
Yeah, there is head office, and then they sell you a franchise. It's up to you to deal with it.
It's set up as a franchise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but they're all multi-level marketing companies.
Mm-hmm. Different way of looking at it for sure, Patience. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh,
Gwen?
Not a question, another comment. So I'm a little bit surprised nobody's mentioned leadership call yesterday, Monday, where they actually, Caleb, who is in his very early 20s, he's been a 1 month old promoter himself, and he's in Cameron's team, who's in the Smiths. I don't know why I'm having a block. I can see his face. I can see her face.
The Bald Eagle team?
Louis Smith's team.
Louis Smith, thank you. So, I think it was actually Ashley who brought him on. Could be wrong. Could have been our man, Stephen. Just to tell us what he was doing. Well, he was very young. He's very new. He's only like a month old. So getting in front of us, just heads, talking heads. He was a little bit nervous, and he said he just focused on people who need what he what he had to offer. So I don't know. That was sort of his byline that he was using. He used connecting three ways. Those were how he sealed the deal, because he in his first month, he has four brand new club members. So, and he connected using the three ways, either with Cameron or with Louis Smith. And all he said was, he'd say to the people, I'm just the messenger. I'd like you to join me in a three-way call. And he said, as soon as that person came on, whether it was Cameron or Louis, they would just take over the conversation as he wanted them to. But he said, by the time the three-way call was happening, they were already sold. They were sold because they had that amazing voice of authority telling them that, yeah, you got a good deal here with this young man. He's really going places. He's very keen. He's knowledgeable. So you can believe whatever he's told you. And then
well, that's a great way to end this call, Wen, because you're right. The three-way calling and again, that third-party credibility, perfect example. Perfect example. So yeah, thank you so much. Shelley, thank you for starting off the evening. And yeah, anything else you'd like to close with, Shelley?
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing, Nada. I know everybody has learned from that. And next week, we will be looking at social media with Laura May.
Awesome.
Okay, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.